The Terrifying Lies Podcast, with music and stories by Craig Nybo. Hello, friends, and welcome to the Terrifying Lies Podcast. I'm your host, Craig Nybo. Well, we've done it again. Here we are, staring down the finale of another season of Terrifying Lies. We've wandered through a maze full of criminal overlords, secret deals, untimely deaths, weird rebirths, loud music, and space travel. You've stuck with me through it all. I've had a great time putting it together, and I hope it hit the spot for you as well. Now, truth time. Every season, I hit a wall. These episodes take a couple of weeks each to prep. That's a lot of time in the dark, typing, building, recording, producing. Every finale, I sit back and ask myself if I should keep going. What keeps me here are those of you who have backed the show, who've chipped in through the Patreon. That support makes a real difference. If you want to keep this thing alive, click the link in the description. It's less than a third of a Happy Meal, but it keeps the monsters fed and the stories coming. To those of you who already back the Patreon, thank you, and thank you. So, I'm going to keep going. Yes, I've decided to greenlight for at least one more season. Today's episode ends the story arc for Rock and Roll and Resurrection, but it also opens up something bigger. A lot of the story hasn't been told. What happens off stage, behind the curtain, in the shadows. I want to tell you all of it, but first, I'll be taking a break for a couple of months to get things ready for Season 6. When I come back, I hope you'll be there with me, and hey, if you've got it in you, help keep the show alive by checking out the Patreon. Now, enough of that. Let's get into what you really came for, the story. Just a fair warning, this is the finale of a 13-part story. If you're starting here, you're going to feel like you've been dropped into a mosh pit in the dark. I suggest going back to episode 1 and working your way forward. Here's the story so far. Tawana Birch, a hardcore fan, sees Bieber. Now remember, this is a fictional character, not meant to resemble or reflect any real person with the same name, die in a fiery car bombing. His finger comes off in the blast, and she catches it. Her brother, Butch, a small-time crook working under Orlando DiPescio, gets dragged into her plan. DiPescio, who's been making waves with rumors of an illegal cloning operation, agrees to her pitch. Clone Bieber from the finger. Tawana will take him, shape him, train him, and get him into space. Destination, the Colindrome. The gig, the Pan-Galactic Prom Show. Bieber's big comeback. DiPescio, of course, wants his cut of the royalties. Tawana takes her clone aboard a space bus and off they go. Butch sneaks on as the secret bodyguard. Meanwhile, DiPescio gets nailed for his cloning crimes. He panics, orders a hit on Tawana, Bieber, Butch, and their new friend Mindy Lee. Butch steps up. He takes out the hit squad. When they get to the Colindrome, they find one last hurdle. Bieber needs to be on the bill. They strike a deal with Slink Arrowheart, a slippery Slorak event promoter, who offers protection and promotion in exchange for a chunk of Bieber's earnings, and of course a payoff to Orlando DiPescio. Gotta get that guy out of the way. As they prepare for the show, a new threat shows up. A space pirate named Nolar Jex hijacks the Colindrome. That's where we pick up. I hope you enjoy Rock and Roll and Resurrection, Bieber's Finger, Part 13 of 13, the finale. And now for the story. I'll see you on the other side. Tawana watched the Malekian demons drag her brother and two other creatures who had helped him in his failed coup across the dance floor to the back of the hall. The demons stacked them all into a pile near the energy field. They set their staffs end up on either side of the prisoners and punched combinations into the button pads on their string blinkers. An extension of the crackling energy field arched from staff to staff, creating a small subcell of energy around Butch and his two accomplices.
What are we gonna do now?
Mindy Lee asked as she watched the demons subjugate Butch, the Schleg, and the antlered bouncer. Twana, Mindy Lee, and Bieber sat in a half circle.
I don't know.
Twana said.
I don't even know what time it is. I don't know if we've been here for 2 hours or 20 hours.
Do you think they're gonna kill us?
Mindy Lee said.
I won't let that happen.
Bieber said. Twana rolled her eyes.
Bless your kind heart.
Mindy Lee said.
You can sing, and you can dance circles around anybody here. But you're a lover, not a fighter.
Bieber looked at his shoes. The jumbo screen sparked to life. Everyone looked up. A foreboding painting of Nolar Jex appeared on the expanse of the display. He wore a menacing expression, one of his eyes covered with a metallic, surgically implanted apparatus. He held 2 planets, one in each hand. He squeezed both of them like lemons. Booming music came over the PA system, something deep and minor with a pad of low-string instruments and thundering timpani, a classic war anthem. A voiceover came in.
Stand by for two-way transmission in 10, 9, 8.
Number 6, who stood next to Slink Arrowheart on stage, came to life. He moved over to the Slorak. The other 4 Malekian demons aimed their string blinkers at the audience. Slink woke up, grumbling about the lack of accommodations and food under his breath. He said something mean about Malekian demons and about how they would never be invited to the prom show again. Number 6 punched a combination into the 4-button keypad on his string blinker. The end of his staff began to glow. He aimed it at Slink. Slink squinted against the glare, muttering about how he was going to cross every Malekian demon he'd ever known off his greeting card list. Slink's image appeared, magnified, a picture-in-picture in the lower corner of the jumbo screen. Number 6 had activated a camera in the top of his staff and was sending a feed into the closed circuit. The announcer continued to count down.
4, 3, 2, 1.
The jumbo screen flashed as it switched to a live feed. Nolar Jex filled the screen, sitting in a blood-red room on an ornate couch, fixed with mechanical devices.
Well. If it isn't Slink Arrowheart.
Nolar said, settling his single eye on the Colindrome's proprietor. Number 6 opened a compartment on the side of his staff. He withdrew a pair of wired leads from a little slot. He hooked the leads onto Arrowheart's chest and moved back. On Nolar Jex's command, the Malekian demon punched in a combination in the staff's keypad. A shrill of electricity raced through the leads into Slink's body, causing him to arch and convulse. His eyes rolled back into his head with each jounce of electricity. Mindy Lee and Bieber looked away as the torture continued. Twana raised her hands to her mouth. Sure, Slink Arrowheart was a shyster and a cheapskate. Some could even argue that he was a criminal, but no creature deserved the treatment Nolar Jex was putting on the Slorak. As Twana watched Number 6 send wave after wave of energy into Arrowheart's body, she felt her hope slip away. The torture went on for several minutes as Jex continued to make demands of the Funk Toast Band, who were somewhere off camera on the other side of the transmission, undoubtedly watching the same feed. Finally, the jumbo screen blinked out. Number 6 disconnected the leads from Slink's chest and retracted them back into his string blinker staff. Slink, nearly unconscious, breathed uneasily, slumped over in his chair, muttering something about money and his mother. The waiting continued. Long hours of quiet, of stomachs rumbling, of beings from all over the galaxy begging for food and water, of pleading for their lives. Twana lay on her back. She looked up through the open roof of the Colindrome into space. Billions of stars shone down on her, many of them long dead, their light trailing off as if they were issuing their final death throes across the universe. Twana thought about those ghost stars. She wondered what death would be like. It was only a matter of time before she and the rest of the Pan-Galactic Prom Show fans would wear out their usefulness to Nolar Jex, and men like Jex saw no profit in mercy. Twana looked at Mindy Lee, who had managed to drift off to sleep on the hard floor, curled into a fetal position, her pink hands together and tucked under her cheek. Mindy Lee and Twana could have been friends. They could have gone back to Earth and done something great together, perhaps started a studio or even a record label. But now those ambitions would never be realized. She looked at Butchie, trapped in the small string blinker cell the Malekian demons had made for him.
Oh, Butchie.
She'd been so rude to him. She'd treated him like a loser for throwing in with Tepecchio's gang. In a way, Twana felt the most bad for Bieber. He deserved none of this. She'd arranged to give him life only to bring him to death in just a few short months. From the beginning, she'd trained the clone to be someone else, her own private dream. Bieber sat cross-legged a few feet away from Twana, his head down, his hands interwoven through his hair on the back of his head. Twana put a hand on his knee. He looked up at her, his face drawn.
I'm so sorry.
Twana said. Bieber smiled.
Don't give up hope.
Twana drew in a deep breath and closed her eyes, keeping her hand on his knee. He picked it up. Twana opened her eyes and smiled at him. Something moved out in space. She spotted it through the open roof.
What was that?
Someone asked, pointing. Twana looked up in time to see a ship pop out of superlight speed. It blinked into existence as if it had appeared from nothing. As it glided across the sky above the venue, she noticed a logo printed on the bottom of the ship. A red hand crushing the blood out of a planet. The insignia of Nolar Jex. Everyone reacted differently to the ship's arrival. Some wept, some wailed, some chattered out panicked clicking sounds. Someone shouted,
"We're all gonna die."
The seeds of pandemonium germinated across the dance floor as the ship approached the roof's force field. The noise woke Mindy Lee. She rubbed her eyes as she sat up. She looked up through the open roof at the approaching vessel. Twana squeezed Bieber's hand. He looked at her, his eyes plain and sincere, as if he didn't fully comprehend the bleakness that beset him and the rest of the prom show fans.
I have an idea.
Twana said. Mindy Lee moved in close.
If we're going down,
Twana said.
we're not gonna do it lying down. There's one last thing we can do. We can stand to meet our fate.
Twana explained her idea to Mindy Lee and Bieber. As they listened, a glimmer of hope rose in the three of them. Her plan wouldn't save them from Nolar Jex, but at least they would die with dignity. Twana, Mindy Lee, and Bieber stood up. The majority of the hostages lay on the ground, covering their eyes, weeping, begging for mercy. The four Malekian demons who had been stationed in the hall remained statuesque, poised like stone gargoyles. Twana and Mindy Lee moved in on Bieber. Twana took off his hat. Mindy Lee removed his glasses. Mindy Lee ran her fingers through his hair, pushing and pulling, doing her best to style it into a signature Bieber do. A group of black-shirted Bieber fans nearby spotted him. One of the teenage girls covered her mouth and muttered,
Is it him?
Now, Bieber,
Twana said.
do what you can for them.
Bieber took Twana and Mindy Lee's hands. He looked at both girls and smiled. They smiled back at him, kissed each of them on their foreheads, then let them go. Bieber walked to the middle of the dance floor, overstepping alien creatures as he moved along. He stopped in a clearing and dropped to one knee. He ducked his head down and began to snap. He clicked down the tempo until he drew the attention of those around him. Someone nearby picked up the snap. Another creature clicked its claws together in a rhythm. Being by being, the rhythm spread across the dance floor. Creatures from all over the galaxy snapping, chirping, or clicking along. With the rhythm working the room like a bed of energy, Bieber pushed to his feet and put his hands on his hips. He looked up at the approaching ship. He looked at the crowd. He smiled. Some of the hopeless creatures had stood up, finding a strength in the rhythm. It wasn't much, but it was at least something that they all shared. Solidarity in the face of disaster. Bieber began to rap, with nothing but a snapped tempo to back his vocals.
Hey you, I'm looking out. I got a bang in my chest, yo, check it out. There ain't another one alive that can put it out. I wanna hear you now, I wanna hear you shout. Come dance with me, stand. Come dance with me, stand. An infection of affection in my heart. I need a doctor of love to help me work it out. A Hippocratic oath of infatuation, and you're falling for me, that's my divination. Come dance with me, stand. Come dance with me, stand.
Mindy Lee giggled as she watched Bieber work his magic. She moved side to side, clapping her hands along with the rhythm. Twana joined her.
Knew it.
One of the black-shirted Bieber fans said as she stood up and started dancing. Others picked up the call. Creatures of all types dropped their dirges and joined the growing party. Fish-looking beasts from a faraway water planet, outfitted with fluid-filled glass bowls over their heads, sloshed from side to side. Plant creatures, all vines and branches, whipped their appendages and rustled their brambles. A band of short, swinish aliens who wore bright-colored togas snorted and joined the party. Bieber started in with the funky monkey to the snapped rhythm. Snapping turned to clapping and stomping. The funky monkey caught on like a wave. Black-shirted Bieber fans picking it up first. Bieber sang out the chorus. The voices of at least 100 Bieber fans joined in.
Come take my hand. There are no boundaries where I'm going. A promised land where the rivers of love are flowing. Just dance with me and let me wrap my arms around you, and you will see what it feels like to stand. What it feels like to stand.
Number 6, still standing on the stage next to Slink Arrowheart, snapped out of stasis. He looked across the crowd of dancing prom show fans. He looked up at the approaching ship, now breaching the force field that littered the open arena. He stepped to a microphone and spoke into it. His voice boomed over the PA system.
You will cease this activity. You are all hostages of Nolar Jex.
The crowd continued dancing to the stomped-out rhythm. Bieber sprinted through the crowd toward the stage. Several black-shirted Bieber fans, now all smiles and bounce, touched him as he ran by. Bieber leapt and landed on his knees on stage. He slid toward number 6, arms out, eyes fixed on the Malekian demon. He continued to rap.
You're more than a light girl, you're more than a babe. You're a big 10 megaton blast sonic wave. I get a taste of disaster when I'm sipping your lips. Put my head on your shoulder, put my hands on your hips. Come dance with me. Stand. Come dance with me. Stand. And the other guys, let them stay back and watch while we swing across the dance floor with the roll in the rock. Cause it's you and me, baby, there ain't room for more. You got me down to the essence, got me down to the core. Come dance with me. Stand. Come dance with me. Stand.
Bieber stood up and pointed at number 6 with both of his hands as he launched off into a double chorus. The crowd joined him, gyrating, bouncing, belting out the words. Somewhere in the backs of their minds, they hadn't forgotten that they were prisoners of the most infamous space pirate in the galaxy. But they didn't care. They only wanted to sing. In the face of certain defeat, they actually danced. The ship slowed to a crawl over the outer rim of the open venue. Inch by inch, the spacecraft entered the atmospheric bubble, the colindrome's transparent membrane parting to admit its girth. The ship hovered over the crowd, emitting heat from its near-field plasma engines, enough to cause discomfort but not to incinerate the captive viewers. It flew to the stage and turned on its center axis over the gigantic platform. Number 6 raised a fist to his head in salute, looking up at the red and black emblem of Nolar Jex painted on the belly of the ship. Several panels opened up along the bottom and sides of the ship, revealing squat gun barrels. The dance floor exploded into pandemonium as the eyes of the weapons swiveled on their gyros and found targets. The weapons discharged all at once. Laser blasts came from each of the gun ports simultaneously in one single synchronized attack. Number 6 lowered his salute and looked down at the scorched hole in his chest. He looked up at the ship, looked back down at his chest. Without a whimper or a moan, Number 6 crumpled to the stage. The other members of the Malekian demon skeleton crew fell all at once, each of them shot through by the ship's surgically aimed lasers. With the fall of the Malekian demon prison guards, panic ebbed off on the dance floor. Everyone stood or sat in place, all eyes on the magnificent ship. Landing gear extended from the hydraulic ports on the bottom of the ship. It lit down lightly, its breadth filling the entire stage. The ship crushed Funk Toast's setup, instruments, drums, and props. Exhaust ports let off a last billow of steam, warming the entire dance hall as the ship settled. It sat stationary for a long moment. An airlock emitted a hiss as it detached from the ship's body. A hatch opened on whispering hydraulics. An ooze of mist poured from the interior of the ship. A set of robotic stairs pushed their way out of the port, assembling a pathway from the raised ship to the stage. All eyes widened as a figure appeared at the port, a shadow in the haze. The figure took the steps one at a time, coming out into the sickly light of the Colindrome's Grand Hall Arena. Everyone looked on in silence.
It's Oz.
Someone shouted with a rustic accent from near the front of the dance floor. Oz smiled as he finished his descent to the stage. One by one, the faces of those trapped in the string blinker cage turned to expressions of relief. Oz held up a plasma blaster he had found in a small armory in one of the ship's holds. He loved to collect guns of all kinds. This one would take a prominent place in his personal display case later, but for now, he had use for the little pistol.
Who wants to see a funkadelic show?
Oz shouted, holding the little weapon above his head. A few members of the audience issued weak indications of consent. More funk toasters exited the ship. Science Fiction Larry, Todd, Rick's hair, and the rest of the band. Oz moved to the edge of the stage and aimed at the nearest of the string blinker relays.
If you would stand back, please,
he said. The audience parted. Oz fired. A tracer of sawtooth light zipped from the plasma gun, accompanied by an electric crackle. The ray hit the string blinker relay and cracked into action, surrounding it in plasma. Oz held the trigger down, expending the weapon's stored-up energy all in one go. After several seconds of pulse and sizzle, the string blinker relay went out. With the death of one relay, the electric ray that had held the Colindrome audience captive dissipated with a last emission of scrunch and spit. As the string blinker came down, the audience finally found the energy to cheer, long and enthusiastic. Oz moved over to Slink Arrowheart, still tied to his chair. He used Rick's pocket knife to cut the Slorak free.
Round up as much fluid and food as you can for these people.
Slink's two mouths slanted into opportunistic grins. Oz fixed the Slorak with a sideways sneer.
Slink. It'll be bad PR for the Colindrome if you capitalize on these starving fans. I'll see to it that the press roast you and your venue if you charge even 1 credit for food and water.
Slink swore in his native language, sloshing out the strange word with well-practiced malice. Oz didn't care to know the translation. Oz moved back up the ramp and raised his arms for effect.
Your good host, Slink Arrowheart, has graciously agreed to provide food and drink from the Colindrome stores at no charge whatsoever.
The audience cheered again. Oz waited for the cheering to die down. Then he spoke up again.
You came here for a funk toast show, didn't you?
Oz winced, waiting for a possible boo from the audience. The silent beat passed. Then one voice came from near the back of the hall, a single cheer that ignited the room. The crowd caught on and the room exploded into a gale of celebration. Oz turned to Craig.
If you please, kick us off.
Funk Toast finished their set with the loudest and most obnoxious ending Twana had ever seen. They closed with their arrangement of Also Sprach Zarathustra, an ancient classical piece written by Richard Strauss, a bit pretentious for a party band, Twana thought. Not to mention that the original song by Strauss was only 30 seconds long. Funk Toast had certainly taken their liberty by stretching their arrangement out to nearly 20 minutes. The crowd disagreed with Twana. As Funk Toast wrapped their set, an enormous applause broke free. Beings slapped their chests, shouted gracelessly, stood on one another's shoulders. They beat on chairs, threw empty beverage containers, wailed, barked, clucked. They made every imaginable sound at double the volume. Funk Toast took a final bow. They waved at the crowd and moved off stage. The audience continued their cacophony of appreciation for several long minutes after the band left. The Funk Toasters stood in the wings and let the fans beg. After listening to the cheering for long enough, the band decided it was time for an encore. But just before they walked back out on stage, Slink Arrowheart walked up the platform and situated himself behind the center stage microphone. The Funk Toasters stood down. Slink, now refreshed after getting something to eat and hydrating his body, dressed in a fresh outfit, something chrome pink, turned him into a mirror ball under the lights, snatched the microphone from its stand. He raised several of his tentacles and managed to calm the crowd down after a couple of minutes of...
Weren't they great? How about the first Earth band ever to visit the Pan-Galactic Prom Show?
Gradually, the crowd flagged off and paid attention to Slink. He raised the microphone to the upper of his two mouths.
Well, this has certainly been a party with many surprises.
Some of the crowd laughed. Some of them moaned.
And I have one more great big surprise for you. Something that is gonna blow your minds. I'd like to bring to the stage the young man who so thoroughly lifted our spirits during our bleakest hour. Can I please have our very own Bieber look-alike come up here?
Both Twana and Mindy Lee gave Bieber a little shove toward the stage. The crowd burst into a fresh gale of cheering. A pin spot circulated around the dance floor until it found Bieber. It followed him as he trotted through the crowd. He moved up past the security and walked up the ramp that led to the platform. With the overpowering stage lights on him, Bieber couldn't see the crowd. He squinted and used a hand to visor away some of the glare. As he stepped up next to Slink, he felt several of the Slorak's tentacles wind around him, one over his shoulders, one across the small of his back, a third around his wrist. The applause never stopped. The audience offered up a constant drone of excitement and love for the clone. Bieber looked into the wings and spotted the Funk Toast band. They gawked back at him, their faces crunched up in confusion. Slink raised a pair of tentacles to calm the crowd. He fixed the audience with a serious expression.
Creatures from all across the known universe, you have grown to know me. You know that every year here at the Pan-Galactic Prom Show, I offer a whole bag of surprises that always hit the headlines from planet to planet.
The crowd chuckled.
This year is no exception. I have to admit, although I conduct my business with ethics and honesty, although I try to offer a straight deal for a straight price, I have been known to lie once in a while, but only if it is for the greater good when it comes to fans of the Colindrome, and especially of the Pan-Galactic Prom Show.
The crowd became confused. They chattered here and there, wondering what Slink was up to.
I have to confess, I've personally engaged in the lie of the century. I'm afraid I have dirtied my tentacles and personally propagated the most controversial hoax that has ever hit the world of entertainment.
Slink looked up at the control room.
Put it up on the screen, please.
A photograph of Brendan Nix appeared on the jumbo screen. Bieber fans hissed and bit their thumbs. They spat and issued diatribes of curses. Slink raised a tentacle.
I know. Nobody can fathom the diabolical depths of this boy's heart. However, I feel that now is the time to come clean. Ladies and gentlemen, I confess. Bieber's assassination was a hoax.
The audience drew a collective gasp, which caused Slink to smile even broader.
I confess that I, Slink Arrowheart, owner of the Colindrome and producer of the greatest rock and roll event in the galaxy, financed the faked assassination of Bieber. Brought him here for you for his first resurrected performance, live and in the flesh.
Slink reached into his pocket and drew out a pencil-sized camera. He gently took Bieber by the left wrist with one of his tentacles and raised the clone's hand up. He aimed the camera at Bieber's ring finger.
I give you the genuine article. Ladies and gentlemen, I present the real Bieber.
Slink clicked on the camera. A live feed from the pencil cam went to the jumbo screen. The whole crowd gawked as they recognized the heart-shaped birthmark on Bieber's finger. A shrill came from the black-shirted Bieber fan brigade. More than a few of the teenage girls passed out on the spot, overcome by the reality that Bieber was alive.
What do you say we give the night to Bieber?
Slink shouted into the microphone. The crowd exploded into cheering so loud that it eclipsed anything the PA had pumped out during the show so far. Out of the corner of Bieber's eye, he saw Funk Toast's drummer throw down his sticks in anger and walk off into the darkness. The stage began to rumble. Bieber nearly lost his footing as he turned toward the source of the commotion. A portion of the stage slid away, revealing a substage. A band of eclectic alien musicians stood ready to play. The substage jounced and began to elevate upward on hydraulics. The alien band went into the beginning of Heart Attack, Bieber's usual opener. Bieber looked up at Slink, a bit confused. Slink gestured expressively toward the stage and withdrew, slurping off to the wings. Bieber crossed to the center microphone and plucked it up from the stand.
Hello,
he said. The crowd belted out a cheer.
My name is Bieber, and I was wondering how you'd feel about me singing a few songs for you.
Black-shirted Bieber fans shouldered through the crowd toward the front blockades, positioning themselves for the show of their lives. Bieber smiled back at the band. The guitarist, a shellfish alien who wore a pair of mirror sunglasses, flicked Bieber an approving nod. Bieber turned to the audience. He raised the microphone to his lips and sang. Six months later, somewhere on planet Earth, Tawana looked out the bay window into the backyard. Spring had nearly finished beautifying the world. The gardeners had done their job all right. She couldn't believe they could afford gardeners. Her eyes turned to the lush cove of patio furniture at the end of the paver path. She hadn't grown tired of walking since moving into the new house. A woman sat, her back to Tawana, shaded under the 3 ancient trees that seemed to stand sentry over the yard. Tawana finished squeezing the last lemon into the glass pitcher. She'd already added the water and sugar, and a twist of lime for good measure. She put the pitcher and a couple of tumblers on a tray and walked toward the French doors. As an afterthought, she plucked a daisy from a vase of flowers on the dining room table and put it on the tray next to the pitcher of lemonade. She stepped out onto the patio. A comfortable breeze met her. She walked the paver path, sided with curbing and lilacs. She made her way to the cobbled area beneath the 3 trees. The woman sat on one of the benches, a light blanket draped over her shoulders. She stared off into oblivion. The woman's hair, prematurely gray, flecked in the breeze. Over the past few months, Tawana thought she'd seen the beginnings of new growth develop like peach fuzz at the roots of the woman's scalp. She hoped to talk her into dyeing her hair at some point. Red might be nice.
I brought lemonade, Ma.
Tawana said. She placed the tray in front of the woman on the patio table. Tawana's ma looked up at her and smiled. She picked up one of the tumblers and sipped. The bitter taste caused Tawana's ma to wince.
Is something wrong?
Tawana asked, putting a finger to her cheek as she watched her ma drink.
It's a little bitter,
Ma said. She held up the glass and let the sun shine through the yellow liquid. She swirled the lemonade, smiling as she watched it circle around inside the glass. She brought the tumbler back to her lips and took another sip. Then she smiled at her daughter.
On second thought, it tastes wonderful.
Tawana picked up the second tumbler and sat down next to her ma. They both looked off into the distance. A scape of double-breasted peaks towered in the east, still capped with winter's gray and white.
It's getting warmer,
Ma said, taking another sip of her lemonade. Tawana sat still, taking in the moment.
I finally decided what I want to name these trees.
Ma said, looking up into the intertangled branches of the towering elms.
Oh, Ma. Trees don't need names.
Tawana said.
I think these trees do.
As if on cue, a gust of wind tossed the branches, causing them to ripple and chatter, as if the trees were trying to say something.
I think I will call them Hope, Faith, and Love.
Ma said. Tawana sipped her lemonade and took her ma's cold hand in her own.
Perfect,
she said. The two of them sat that way for a long time, hand in hand, till both of their tumblers were empty, and the evening chill caused them to go inside for the night.
Hey you, I'm looking out. I got a check it out. There ain't another one alive who can put it out. I wanna hear you now, I wanna hear you shout. Come dance with me. Stand, come and dance with me. Stand, an infection of infection in my heart. I need a doctor of love who can help me work it out. A Hippocratic oath of infatuation, and you're falling for me, that's my divination. Come dance with me. Stand, come dance with me. Stand, take a step, feel the beat in your veins. Let the rhythm ignite like a spark in the rain. Every heartbeat's a call, every moment is ours. So just take my hand, let's reach for the stars. Don't take my hand, there are no boundaries where I'm going. A promised land where the rivers of love are flowing. Just dance with me and let me wrap my arms around you. And you and me together we'll learn how to stand. You're more than a light, girl, you're more than a baby. You're a big 10 megaton blast, a sonic wave. Get a taste of disaster when I'm sipping your lips. Put my head on your shoulder, put my hands on your hips. Come dance with me. Stand, come dance with me. Stand, and the other guys, let them stay back and watch while we swing across the dance floor to the roll and the rock. 'Cause it's you and me, baby, there ain't room for more. You got me down to the essence, got me down to the core. Come dance with me, stand, come dance with me, stand. Close your eyes, let the world fade away. It's just you and me in this dream we create. Let the bass shake the ground, let the melody fly. We can dance till the dawn, paints gold in the sky. I don't care where you've been before, right here, right now, we write the lore. No fear, no doubt, just lose control. Let's let the music take its toll. Take my hand, there are no boundaries where I'm going. A promised land where the rivers of love are flowing. Just dance with me and let me wrap my arms around you. And you and me together we'll learn how to stand.
If you've been with the Terrifying Lies podcast for a while, you know I write and produce a song for each episode. Earlier this season, we heard a song called Stand, said to be one of Bieber's early breakouts. Again, that's a fictional Bieber, no connection to any real person who might share the name. The version I released in episode 4 just didn't cut it. It missed the mark, so I gave it another shot. What you just heard is my second take on Stand. I think it fits better. Sounds more like something a galactic pop idol might belt out before a screaming audience of 12,000 species. I hope you liked it. The song is, of course, called Stand. And that's a wrap on another season of the Terrifying Lies podcast. I'm going to step back for a while to cook up what's coming in Season 6. There's a bit of a shift ahead. New episodes will drop on the first and third Wednesdays of the month rather than Fridays, so you can look forward to a nice break in the middle of your week. Mark your calendar. Season 6 premieres Wednesday, September 3rd. I want to thank you for listening. It means more than I can say that a few folks out there are into these stories. Like I always say, I consider you all my friends. If we lived close, I'd throw a party. Fire up the grill and maybe even get Rust Monster, my band, to play a pirate set. I guarantee you'd be dancing all night long. Thanks again for being part of this. I'll catch you when Season 6 of Terrifying Lies kicks off. I think you're going to like what's coming. Until next time, I bid you sweet dreams. Or should I say, sweet nightmares.
This has been the Terrifying Lies podcast. Please, come again. You're welcome here.